There are two ways to make a performance car. You can take a massive, heavy, ridiculous four-wheel drive SUV and give it a 5.5-liter twin-turbo V8. Or you can take a small hatchback, put a 2-liter four-cylinder in it, and somehow make it faster. One of these cars weighs more than 2.5 tons. The other weighs about 1.6. One makes 420 kilowatts, the other makes 310, and yet, the smaller car is nearly 1.5 seconds quicker to 100. So today we're asking a slightly uncomfortable question. Has AMG gotten better? Or have we just gotten more sensible? Today we've got two very different versions of the AMG formula. On my left, the G63 2016. On my right, a 2020 A45 S. Now, while these two cars may be wearing the same badge and almost the same outfit, they're almost impossible to compare. But we're gonna try. The G63 is essentially a luxury tank with a drinking problem. The A45 is pretty much just a computer that learned how to say bad words. But there's a specific reason why we're comparing them today. And it's because they represent two very different eras of AMG thinking. The G63 says more is more. The A45 says more should be efficient. So that's why we're going to compare them today. We're going to take them through the rundown of power, practicality, character, engineering, feeling, and ultimately decide whether AMG is moving towards the future or should have just hung out where they were. So let's start with the numbers, because AMG numbers are usually where things start to get a little bit crazy. This weighs 2.5 tons, which is like trying to get a small building to accelerate. The G63 uses the 5.5-liter twin-turbocharged V8. It produces 420 kilowatts and 760 newton meters of torque. It gets from 0 to 100 in 5.4 seconds. Then you jump in the A45, and this is where things get a little weird. This has a 2-liter turbocharged four-cylinder. 4 cylinders, 2 liters, and yet 310 kilowatts and 500 newton meters. 0 to 100? Well, Mercedes has claimed 3.9 seconds. But power isn't everything, right? And that's where the G63 fights back. Because once you put your foot down, it sort of stops being about statistics on a page, and it becomes a little bit more about the feeling. There's something deeply satisfying about having that much engine. You don't need to explain it, you don't need to look at a graph, you just put your foot down, and the front of the car rises while the V8 makes a noise that sounds like a bunch of large men arguing in a tunnel. The G63 just wants you to know that it's there. Let's talk about speed, right? And this is where it gets a little bit embarrassing, because A45, 3.9 seconds to 100, G63, 5.4. In a straight line, it's almost no contest. But the truth is, sometimes speed doesn't matter that much. Nobody walks into a dealership and says, I'd like the least aerodynamic way to get to 200 kilometers an hour. You get a G63 because of the feeling. Right, so when we're talking about the engineering, this becomes a little fascinating because the G63 is designed to be completely off-road capable, right? Take it anywhere, do anything with it. It's gonna do the job. The A45, on the other hand, is completely different. The G63, brute force. Goes where you need to, does what you need it to do. This is a computer that's turned into a freak science project. And that's the real difference. The G63 is how much hardware can we throw at this. The A45 is how smart can we use the hardware we've already got. Now, let's talk about the thing that nobody wants to talk about when it comes to performance cars. How do you live with it day to day? In terms of practicality, you would think the G63 is gonna walk away with the cake. Take the cake, whatever you want to call it. But if you're like me and you live in Johannesburg, surprisingly, this becomes the more practical one. When you need to slip through back streets, park in spaces where there isn't enough space, have a daily driver that's both reliable and a lot more fuel efficient than that, this ends up being the more practical car. Short of having to put, a ton of luggage in the boot, which this might not get away with. This is going to be the more reliable, more practical day-to-day driver. So in terms of practicality, this is your best bet. And then there's fuel economy. And all of this is before you even start driving it like an AMG, right? If you're looking for something more economical, you're probably gonna wanna go with the A45. But the truth is, if you're buying either of these, fuel is probably not the thing that you're worrying about. Drink up, old boy. So if you ask me which one of these is better, I'd probably have to go with the A45. Better tech, faster, more fuel efficient, more reliable and friendly for city living and day-to-day driving. But if you ask me which one I want, that might be a whole different answer. Because the G63 has something that statistics can't measure. It has presence. You don't hear a G63 coming. You hear the environment around it preparing for its arrival. The A45 is impressive, but the G63 feels like an event every single time. So maybe there's a lesson here, right? These two cars prove that maybe performance isn't just one thing, right? The A45 represents where AMG is going. More tech, more efficiency, more speed. But the G63 represents a time when people would always ask themselves the question, what if we just made it bigger? And that's an era I think a lot of us miss. So, despite the A45 being objectively faster, eventually cars stop being about statistics and they become about how you feel or how they make you feel. So what would you choose? The precision instrument or a V8 powered brick? Because sometimes the car that makes the most sense isn't necessarily the car you want. This has been Pharoah Auto Investments. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know your thoughts in the comments and catch us here, same place, same time, next week. Have a good one.